what's happening? I hope everybody is doing well. I am gonna see first, I'm gonna try to refresh my screen on my computer, see if I can share this out on my personal page, because I wanna be sure that you guys are getting the information. So I'll wait to see if some people hop on before I really start moving in this direction. So let's see. I wanna share on my page, so my timeline. And let's see if we can do that, post. Okay, so hopefully we'll get some folks to sign on, because today is pretty important, all right? I am talking about the balance between your gut and your brain. So important. All right, so one of the things I want you guys to realize is that a lot of times we think, okay, we're thinking a thought about food and we want to take that food and we want to eat it. So our brain is kind of telling our gut what to do. But how about if I told you that the foods that we're eating are actually telling our bodies what to do? So it's this cycle that we have going on. So you have your gut-brain axis, all right? So the mind tells the stomach what to eat. But if that translates into something crazy, like, all of a sudden you think, right, my mind is telling me to have pizza. Well, that's one thing, we eat the pizza, but then all of a sudden the pizza, that food starts to break down into a really interesting composition that feeds certain bacteria found within our digestive system. And that bacteria has its own mind as well, and it says, ooh, I want more. So it sends neurotransmitters and information to the brain to tell the brain what to do. All right. So it's not this like one way of doing something. Hey, I see some guys joining on. It's good to see you. Hey, Byron. All right. So just understand that the brain is telling the stomach what to do, but then the stomach in turn is telling the brain what to do. So once you understand that there is a connection, this is going to start to make sense. So it's going to be a little nerdy and cerebral today. I wrote my notes because I don't want to get distracted and go off topic. All right. Good to see you, Byron. Okay. So the first thing I want you guys to realize is that there is something in our digestive system called the vagus nerve. And that's not spelled like Vegas, like you're going to Vegas, like what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. This is V-A-G-U-S, so like the vagus nerve. That nerve is connected directly from the stomach to the brain. And unlike Vegas, where people go and say what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, it does not happen. When you do something in the stomach, it affects the brain, and when the brain, vice versa, affects the stomach. So neurons are cells found in your brain and your central nervous system that they tell the body how to behave. So that's the first thing we understand is neurons. There are 100 billion, with a B, yes, billion neurons in the human body. Crazy. The gut contains 500 million neurons, which are connected to your brains through your nerves. So you have 500 million neurons, which are connected to your brain through your nerves. That's a lot of that 100 billion that's in the stomach and in the gut. So in animal studies, this is where it gets fun and you start understanding how the connection. Stress inhibits the signal sent through the vagus nerve and also causes gastrointestinal problems. So let me break that down for you. So if you have stress going on in your life, right, and you're like this mental stuff that's going on, this is where the brain connection from here to here happens, is that all of a sudden this stress then affects your digestive system. I'm sure people have heard of that when they're like, oh my gosh, I'm stressed out and my digestion's I'm constipated, or I got the runs, or whatever is happening, and it's really due to stress in your life and what's happening. It shows you that there's a connection there, all right? So now let's go a little bit further. So, thank you. I'm not sure who said good content, but thank you. All right. So IBS, I don't have my glasses on, so that's half the problem. I'm getting old, y'all. I can't wear my glasses to read, and then I can't see. So if you're commenting, I love you. So IBS and Crohn's disease had reduced vagal tone. So anyone who literally has IBS or Crohn's, what you want to think about is the fact that your actual vagus nerve, the tone of that, meaning the health of that nerve, has been damaged. All right. So are there ways to repair it? Yeah, we can actually do things to repair our nerves, and we'll talk about that in part 2. So there's a mice study that probiotics used when the mice were under stress showed that it helped to reduce the stress hormone released in the blood. But if they cut the vagus nerve, right, or they cut the nerve, then the probiotic had no effect. Crazy, all right? So this is something to understand, this connection. I want you guys to realize that this vagus nerve is so important. So that's why when I tell people making sure you're eating the right things can help with anxiety and depression and all of that, because if we're feeding the wrong microbes in our body, if that microbiome gets out of balance in one way, it affects what's happening in our brain. So much, all right? So remember, the first thing I wanted you to think about, there were neurons, and those neurons tell our body what to do. There are 100 billion of them, and 5 million of them are found in the gut. Now we have neurotransmitters, all right? So the vagus nerve was there with the neurons. Now we have neurotransmitters. Neurotransmitters are chemicals, all right? So think about serotonin, dopamine, all of that kind of stuff, right? So serotonin is happiness, and it also controls how our body clock works. So like, our circadian rhythm and what we do is for sleep and movement and getting up and going to bed. So a large part of serotonin, almost more than in the brain, is produced in the gut. So a lot of times we don't realize that if our digestive system is off, if we're eating the wrong things, if we're putting the wrong stuff in our bodies, then our serotonin, our dopamine, all the things that, doctors are giving us medication for, really has more to do with what's happening in our digestive system than it does to have what's happening in our brain. Yes, they're both connected. I just showed you a few minutes ago, for those who are joining in, that there is a connection from your brain to your digestive system and your digestive system to your brain. So go back and listen if you weren't there for that. So the gut also produces what we call gamma amino butyric acid. So GABA, it's you'll see this a lot of times in scientific or medical papers where it's GABA. And this helps to control feelings of fear and anxiety. Okay, yep, diabetes too, correct, you got that. So it basically controls the feelings of fear and anxiety. So certain probiotics can increase the production of GABA, all right, which is a good thing because we want to make sure that it helps to lessen the stress of the body. There's also something, microbes produce short-chain fatty acids. So that's another acronym that would be SCFAs, and you'll see that happen. Those short-chain fatty acids help to reduce appetite in the body. So the mental side of what's going on back and forth with that is really, really important. So consuming propionate can reduce food intake and can also reduce the activity in the brain related to reward from high energy foods, all right? So that's like that whole place where all of a sudden you eat the pizza and you start to feel, euphoric and all of that kind of stuff going on. Or you can eat something that is high in fiber and things like that and have a more balanced, steady state of what's going on in your body. So it will help to suppress the appetite when we're putting things in our body that are not creating this reaction of more sugars and carbohydrates, and you have more things that are the fatty acids that are the short chain fatty acids. So and butyrate helps form a solid blood-brain barrier. So it allows what we call leaky gut, or things where it seeps out. And I talked a little bit about that in inflammation last week, where that seeps out into the body. So the gut and gut microbes play a role in the immune system and inflammation, just like I said last week. So if your immune system is switched on for too long, so let's say we're eating those foods that I talked about last week that are causing your body to get really inflamed. Let's say you don't really realize that you have a gluten allergy or a wheat allergy or a soy allergy or something like that, and you are constantly swollen and inflamed, or you find you have eczema or other things that your body is giving you warnings that there's something you're putting in it doesn't like, or on it, because topically can be just as bad. So you're rubbing a lotion or you're using detergent that your body doesn't like. It's having to process that. You're in a high inflammatory state. So that inflammatory state then leads to a link between brain disorders like depression and Alzheimer's and disease, because if the immune system is switched on for too long, it leads to the inflammation, and that is linked to brain disorders, those inflammation, that inflammation. So then you have liposaccharides, or LPSs, is an inflammatory toxin made by certain bacteria. Now, how is the bacteria made? It's made because we fed it. Remember, we go back to the beginning. What foods are we putting in our body? What are we doing to either feed the good bacteria or the bad bacteria? If you guys remember, maybe sometime this summer, I talked about having a test done by Viome, where it analyzed my poop pretty much. And it told me what bacteria were overgrown in my digestive system, which ones that were underdeveloped that I need to develop, and which foods I need to use to make that happen. So it's really important to understand what's going on in your digestive system. And so basically when it passes into the gut, you get something called leaky gut syndrome. So remember that, guys, all right? So inflammation and high LSP in the blood have been associated with brain disorders, including severe depression, dementia, and schizophrenia. That's crazy. So understand, guys, this is what I want you to know today, all right? We're going to talk next week about what we can do to help this process. But today, understanding that the foods we put in our body, what we're eating, matters. It matters greatly because it's either feeding really good bacteria that vagus nerve carries, and your serotonin and your neurotransmitters and all of those things start to fire properly, or it really starts to hurt the body, and now we're compromising the vagus nerve, its permeability, the permeability of proteins leaching into the blood with leaky gut, all of that. So if you have any questions about how to clean up your diet, you know I'm the girl for that. I have Gut Check 21. I work with people one-on-one. It's my passion. It's what I want to do, because when I realized about 2012 that despite looking at my life being seemingly, quote unquote, what I wanted and perfect, and I had a great husband, wonderful kids, you know, wasn't in financial distress or whatever, had lots of friends, I still was depressed. Why am I sad? Waking up feeling worse because I'm like, I know too much. God has blessed me too much to feel this way. It was all about diet. Now, yes, I did have a severe disorder of my digestive system when they gave me the antibiotic, and I had C. diff, so it changed my microbiome completely. But I was like, there's got to be a different way. I wake up each morning excited, happy, love life, enjoy what I'm doing. It's a complete difference, but it's the food that I changed, what I did with my body to stop feeding those bad bacteria. So if you need help with figuring that out because your mental state, you got brain fog, all that kind of stuff going on, please know that I'm here for you in lots of different ways. So the book is coming out soon, so that's one way some people can kind of help clean things up. I've got Gut Check 21, and I work with people one-on-one. I'm putting that out there because I want people to realize that you don't have to go at this alone if you need some help, all right? So next week is part 2. We're gonna talk about what to do, what kind of foods, what kind of probiotics, what you can incorporate into your diet so that you can hopefully change that state. So I hope you have enjoyed today. Please share this out. Share the joy with people. I know it was a little more scientific and a little more cerebral and things like that, but sometimes it's about understanding. We perish for a lack of knowledge, and my goal is to help as many people as I possibly can on the face of the earth understand how to use food as medicine. You know, I didn't coin that, you know, let food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food. But understand that that is the truth. And one person's food is another person's poison. So you got to understand what that is. So please, please, please share this video out. Let people know about it. It's not because Kimberly wants to get famous. It's because Kimberly wants this out, and I want to see people live really healthy and passionate lives. All right. Peace and blessings. I love you guys. Oh, hold on. That was excellent. Thanks for giving us the science. You got it. No problem, Byron. And you guys know that I love you. So do all things with joy in your life and share the joy. Peace.